My name's Amy Brown. I'm 28. And the night my brother decided I was his personal emergency fund, he did it over text. You'll cover my share of rent. No greeting. No explanation. Just a line slapped across my screen like a sticky note stuck to my forehead. I stared at it, hoping it would rearrange itself into a joke I'd somehow missed. The apartment was unusually quiet. The hallway seemed endless as I made my way to his room. The door was half open, like someone leaving it that way on purpose, pretending it was accidental. Inside empty. No mattress. No desk. No shirt slouching in the closet like tired flags. He hadn't just left. He'd evacuated. While I was working late, he peeled himself off the lease like a sticker from a notebook. I typed my response out of habit. Keep dreaming. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. Dad. All caps. No punctuation. Rage compressed into a single line. You aren't family unless you cover his $100,000 loan. I didn't gasp. I didn't cry. Something quieter happened. A click deep behind my ribs. I sank onto the edge of the couch and realized I'd finally reached the end of the hallway I'd been walking for years. The one lined with framed reminders they'd used as toll gates. Remember when we drove you to practice? Remember the birthday cake? Remember therapy at 16? Pay the fee. Keep walking. I set the phone down, opened my banking app. The joint credit card Dad had convinced me to co-sign last year? Frozen. Mom's backup debit card? Locked. Autopays, linked accounts, the tiny subscriptions that quietly funneled money to everyone but me? Untied. I called the electric company. My brother's name removed. Storage unit portal? My name on the lease. New access code. New security questions. I didn't burn anything down. I just turned off the lights they'd been pretending were free. For a second, I caught my reflection in the dark TV screen. Calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that only arrives when you're done auditioning for a kindness you'll never get. The voicemail started before I reached the kitchen. Then another. Then 10 more. My phone buzzed like a hornet's nest I had no intention of touching. I boiled water for tea I didn't even like and waited for the world to collapse. It didn't. It just got loud. I thought about his room again. The purposeful emptiness, leaving only the lease and bills behind like bones after a feast. Rent, $2,400. 6 months left. Utilities from 2 weeks ago? Small numbers compared to the $100,000 Dad tossed at me like a brick through a window. Not my debt. Not a loan I'd co-signed. A mess they'd cooked up while inviting me only to clean up. My phone pinged. A new message from Dad. Fewer caps, same sentiment. We help each other in this family. He's your brother. Once that line would have worked on me like a tranquilizer. Not tonight. I went to my bedroom and pulled out a shoebox of paperwork I'd kept as proof I was responsible. Receipts, contracts, a clipped lease, a photo from move-in day with forced smiles and a sagging couch. I thought reliability would earn respect. I didn't realize it just made me infrastructure. Who thanks the foundation? Only when it cracks. At 9:03 p.m., I sent one email to the landlord. Hi, this is Amy Brown for B. My brother has vacated without notice. I am willing to cover the next 2 months in full if we can terminate early. Evidence of abandonment can be provided. He replied at 9:48 p.m., as if waiting for permission to be reasonable. If the unit is emptied and cleaned by month's end, we can end the lease. I'll send a termination addendum. Direction, not relief. The voicemails evolved. My brother oscillated between fake confusion and weaponized helplessness. Amy, you don't understand how startups work. Amy, you're ruining my credit. Amy, family doesn't do this. Family doesn't do what exactly? Refuse to be a drip line into your drought. I didn't call back. At 10:22 p.m., a blocked number. I answered thinking it was work. Dad. He didn't yell. He adopted that lullaby with a hook voice. Sweetheart, I overreacted. We're stressed. Your brother's under pressure. We're all under pressure. I'm proud of you. We can fix this together. I let him speak until he ran out of room to circle me. Then one question. Who's in the family group chat? Silence. Then that's not important. It was the most important thing he'd said all night. I hung up. The gift basket arrived the next morning. Cheeses, candles, teas I don't drink. No note. A wrinkled receipt tucked underneath. Charged to the joint card I'd frozen. Declined. A silent comedy. A purchase meant to atone for betrayal, paid for by the betrayed. By noon a cousin texted. Are you really upset about something so small? Small like a $100,000 loan I didn't take. Small like a room emptied without warning. Small like love contingent on funding failure. I watched the street. A father lifted his toddler from a car seat. The child laughed, clear, uncomplicated. I remembered that light once before I learned affection in my house had a ledger. I opened my laptop and made 3 folders. Keep, return, theirs. I sorted the kitchenware I owned into keep, anything my brother could claim into return, the rest into theirs, to photograph and inventory. Not pettiness. Proof, the kind that stops arguments before they masquerade as concern. I made a promise I could actually keep. No speeches, no defending, only decisions. At 2:07 p.m., I drafted a list called Quiet Blackout. Freeze, lock, unlink. Done. Landlord exit plan in motion. Storage unit code changed. Photos to be sent with a 10-day transfer deadline. Utilities, my name, my control. No more borrowed stability. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt awake. By evening, the messages changed tone. Requests for forgiveness disguised as arrest warrants. You're making a scene. We can't heal if you shut us out. Healing had become their favorite word for access. I placed my phone face down. The apartment hummed with a new silence. Not loneliness, space. I brewed tea I didn't like. Letting the kettle's whistle mark the start of a new calendar. Not one where I was villain. One where I stopped auditioning for roles written for their convenience. Later, when night got quiet enough to hear my pulse, I caught myself in the oven door. Direct, organized, tired, unflinching. I'd respect this woman if I met her at work. Surprising. Maybe the person I tried to be for them wasn't someone I liked. I turned off the kitchen light and let the dark linger. Tomorrow I'd need help. Truth. Context. A mirror that wouldn't lie. Uncle Rob. Always honest, even if it made the room uncomfortable. I was done being the only one willing to sit in discomfort. Next morning I called him. He picked up on the second ring, calm, steady. Someone who'd seen too many family fires to flinch at smoke. Amy, you okay? I told him everything. The text, the loan, the silent move out, the unraveling night. He listened, never interrupting, letting the pieces land. When I finished, long pause. Do you want to know? He asked carefully. What your family really says when you're not around? My stomach sank. Part of me wanted no, to stay half-blind in denial. But silence had a cost I already knew. Tell me, I whispered. He sighed. Your mom and dad, they've been talking like this for a while. At your cousin's wedding, your mom laughed to Aunt Carla about how you still think you're better than everyone just because you pay your own bills. Then your dad said if she ever stops helping, she'll learn who her family really is. They think your money, your life, is repayment for tolerating you as a teenager. It hit like slow-motion punches. Every moment they'd reminded me to be grateful suddenly shifted. Grateful for returning me after therapy. Grateful they didn't give up. Grateful they still talked to me after I moved out. Every act of basic decency became a debt I owed forever. Rob wasn't done. There's a group chat you're not in. Your dad, your mom, your brother, a few cousins. They call it the family core. Mostly about money. Yours mostly. Mine? Yes. After my promotion last year, Mom said they could lean on Amy more. They planned who could ask for what, starting small, keeping it natural. They joked I'd never say no because I needed to feel useful. I stared at my mug. Steam curled like it was escaping too. Uncle Rob. How long have you known? Saw it once. Your mom left her phone open at a barbecue. Didn't say anything then, but now. I think you need to hear it all. He was right. Truth wasn't cruel. Pretending was. When the call ended, I didn't cry. I just sat in the stillness of the apartment, surrounded by half-packed boxes and the echo of realization. They hadn't loved me for me. They loved the version that made life easier. By afternoon, clarity. I emailed the landlord again, confirmed early termination, and started sealing boxes labeled keep. Everything my brother could claim? Bright orange tape stacked by the door. Evidence I was cleaning my life with precision they had mistaken for coldness. Then the storage unit. Decades of family clutter, old furniture, Christmas decorations, sentimental boxes. Lease in my name. Code changed. Photos taken. One final email. You have 10 days to transfer this lease. After that, no longer my responsibility. Simple, polite, unmistakable. No spite. Just air. Messages poured in. Mom. After all we've done for you. Brother, you're really throwing away family over money. Dad, voice memo I ignored. Aunt Carla. Amy, don't know what's gotten into you. Call them. They're worried. Acting strange, code for acting free. I turned off my phone. Screen dark. Thoughts loud. Every favor, every emergency I'd absorbed, replayed like film footage of crimes I hadn't realized I helped commit. Lying in bed, listening to the fridge hum. Neighbors upstairs, ordinary sounds I'd never noticed before. I didn't feel like I was abandoning them. I was walking toward myself. Small voice whispered, they won't stop here. True. People who depend on guilt don't fade when you say no. They get creative. Next morning the shift started. Silence first, plotting. No calls. No texts. Then messages again, masked. Mom. Good morning, let's talk when you're calmer. Dad. Your brother didn't mean to upset you. He's under pressure. Brother, I thought you had my back. No apologies. No admissions. Just boundary rewriting. I muted the thread. Cracks appeared. Mom texted about Netflix. Dad about the electric bill. Vet called, dog's reminder bounced because I'd been paying. Every frozen account, disconnected bill, declined subscription. A ripple of realization. They hadn't known how much I'd held up. By evening, my brother Venmo'd me $1,000 for family vacation. Maui. Same trip I'd been told I was too busy for months ago. I had been left out of the group chat about flights, though they'd apparently still budgeted for my share. I didn't decline, didn't accept, I just replied once. Asked the family group chat. 2 hours later my phone buzzed. Uncle Rob. He sounded worn, his voice low like he'd stepped outside for air. I don't know what you did, Amy, he said. But your mom's pacing the kitchen like she's preparing for war. I let out a dry laugh. They were angry the gravy train had missed its stop. He didn't laugh back. They're about to book the hotel for Maui. Your dad realized too late. It's under your corporate discount. Non-refundable. I stayed silent. I didn't need to say a word. And in that quiet, a strange feeling crept in. Satisfaction, yes, but not revenge. Proof. For once, they were seeing life without my silent reliability, and it scared them. The next morning, Mom sent a photo of Sunday dinner. Everyone smiling, holding hands, captioned, family above everything. No text, no explanation, just a guilt billboard. I stared, then scrolled my camera roll. Birthdays, holidays, occasions I worked overtime so they could afford gifts they never acknowledged. Every smile looked rehearsed. Every memory came with a cost I had quietly covered. That night, I left the family chat. No dramatic goodbye, just leave group. Minutes later, my phone buzzed again. Aunt Carla. Wow, really mature. Amy, cousin Jill, you're making a big deal out of nothing. My brother, you ruined the chat. Mom's crying. Mom's crying. Not for missing me, but because I'd stopped playing my part. I muted them all. Over the following days, the guilt campaign escalated. Every message loaded with emotional bait. Dad sent long paragraphs on forgiveness and unity. Mom sent Pinterest prayer quotes about holding on to family. My brother sent a voice note, fake sobs leading to, "You're destroying everything Dad built." I didn't reply. But I was watching, documenting. Screenshots, bank statements, rent receipts, emails, everything I'd need if this turned legal. Emotional blackmail often precedes financial manipulation. Then, just as the storm seemed to settle, a new one blew in. 10:07 p.m. Wednesday. An unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something, a gut feeling, fate, instinct made me answer. Amy, it's Lena. Recognition took a second. Lena, my old boss. Sharp, professional, no nonsense. We hadn't spoken since I changed jobs last year. Hey Lena. What's up? A pause. My stomach sank. I ran into your dad at a charity event tonight, she said carefully. He introduced himself, mentioned you work for us, and said you might be stepping away soon because of personal issues. My chest tightened. He made it sound like you're unstable, that you might not keep up at work. There it was, the new tactic. If they couldn't guilt me financially, they'd sabotage my reputation. I didn't believe him, Amy. Lena said with a sigh. I know how solid you are, but I thought you should know. I thanked her, voice steady even as my pulse raced. After the call, I sat staring at the wall. They weren't just trying to pull me back. They were trying to dismantle everything I'd built. The family preaching loyalty was quietly eroding my credibility. And if I knew my father, this was deliberate, strategic. But he made one mistake. He'd forgotten I once helped him organize his files, and that he'd never changed his old laptop password. That laptop still sat in the hall closet. Dusty silver, a relic from the year he'd asked me to help with business records. Access disguised as bonding. The password. My birthday. Predictable. The screen flickered on. Folders everywhere. Taxes, loans, receipts, contracts. A skeleton of our family life. At first I didn't know what I sought. Then I remembered his words. You aren't family unless you cover his $100,000 loan. I searched loan. Instantly. Loan agreement final. PDF. There it was. A $100,000 loan signed by my brother, co-signed by Dad. Collateral, house and car. Due dates highlighted in yellow. Payment history. 2 missed installments. A red note. Final notice. Foreclosure imminent. Scrolling further, I found emails between Dad and a private lender. My daughter's financially stable. Confident she'll assist if necessary. My throat tightened. I wasn't a daughter here. I was a safety net. Then a draft titled Family Restructure Plan. A spreadsheet plotting bills shifted to me. Rent, storage, insurance, grandma's prescriptions. Column header. Amy likely to agree, framed as temporary. My hands shook. I took screenshots, saved copies to a flash drive, uploaded to the cloud. If they played dirty, I'd respond documented. I opened a new email to Dad. Subject. Selena. No body text. Just the lender's name printed across the files. He'd understand. 4 hours later, 8 paragraphs. No denial, no explanation. Just stress, family, pressure, love. Never a word about the loan. He knew I knew. That was enough. By the next evening, Uncle Rob called. Low, exhausted. Amy, I told them. Told them what? That you found the files. Lena called. You know. Everything. I froze. Why? Because they tried to spin it. Dad accused me of hacking. Mom said I was paranoid. Another Amy's overreacting story. I refused to play along. Uncle Rob continued. You should have heard the room go silent. Dining table, cheap wine, Halaton dinner. The pause when lies finally lose oxygen. Dad looked like someone pulled the ground from under him. Mom tried to say it's a misunderstanding. Your brother left. I think they realized you're done playing nice. I didn't respond immediately. For the first time, I wasn't angry. I was steady, like calm after a structure collapses. Once you know where the rubble lands, you stop flinching. That weekend, silence reigned. Not peace, but panic. They knew I held the leverage. Tuesday, Mom emailed. Healing and communication. Attached. An unsent draft message to the family apologizing to me. I didn't reply. 2 days later, a handwritten letter from Dad arrived. Strong synthetic cologne. Nostalgia, forgiveness, family. Don't let pride make you forget. Pride, the word they always used for my boundaries. That night I sat at my desk. Letter in one hand, flash drive in the other. For the first time I felt clarity, not guilt or anger. The next morning I emailed the bank's collections department. Attached loan documents, confirmed I'd never co-signed. Reply within hours. Your records are clear. You owe nothing. Proof. Freedom. I began sorting the apartment, my things, theirs, trash. Labeled boxes stacked neatly. I went through my contacts, blocked Dad, Mom, my brother, muted every cousin. Finally, the family core chat. Endless arguments. I typed 3 words. No, I won't. Hit send. Left the group. Deleted the app. That night, Uncle Rob called softly. It's about time you chose yourself. You did the right thing. They'll spin it, but deep down they know. I smiled, faint, real. Then, quietly, I deleted the old voicemails, photos, missed calls. Not for anger, housekeeping. Space that belonged to me. Quiet meant freedom. 6 months passed. No calls, no guilt-dipped apologies, just silence. First weeks were strange. Reaching for my phone to share work laughs with Mom. Remembering that version existed only in imagination. Absence became healthier than presence. I moved into a small downtown apartment. Peeling paint, creaky floors, no shared lease. Mine. Every bill mine. Every sound mine. Peace felt real only when it was unclaimed. Work flourished. Lena promoted me, project lead. Pride, yes, but mostly relief. Relief that Dad's rumor hadn't defined me. Relief that truth can survive lies if you keep doing the work. Some at work asked why I didn't talk about family. I smiled. Some stories sound better once they end. Never the details. Not the texts, loan or lies. That chapter wasn't for pity, it was for peace. Occasionally Uncle Rob checked in. Short, quiet calls. Never intrusive. One evening. Amy, they're not mad you left. They're mad you proved they could survive without you, and that you can survive without them. He was right. Their love had always been conditional. Invisible contracts I never signed. Now I rewrote them. No debt, no guilt, no access. One afternoon a letter arrived. Mom's handwriting. Inside a single line. We're sorry things turned out this way, but we're still your family. I folded it back, put it away. Some doors don't need slamming. They need locking. That night I walked through the glowing city. Restaurants buzzing, laughter spilling without emotional cost. Stopped for chamomile tea, the kind I once hated. Didn't taste better, just mine. Thought of the girl who believed family meant endurance, exploitation meant love, silence meant peace, and guilt meant duty. She'd finally breathe. Before heading home I texted Uncle Rob. Thank you for being the only one who didn't treat me like an ATM. He replied. You were never the problem, Amy. You were just the first to break the pattern. That night, last voicemail deleted. Not anger, housekeeping. Freedom isn't loud. It hums beneath your skin in unnoticed acts of self-respect. Opening your own door. Realizing every inch of peace belongs to you. Not bought, borrowed, begged. Lights off. Reflection in the window. The same calm woman from months ago. Only now her eyes didn't look tired. They looked free.